Robstar gang, what up? What up? Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Welcome in, welcome in. What a week it has been, and the weekend is here, and I have enjoyed this beautiful Saturday here. I hope you guys are as well. Much needed family time with my daughter this morning. I don't know what you guys did. Went to the gym this morning. Um, things have been good. Things have been good, but obviously I haven't been live this week. Mainly some shorts. I haven't been live since like Tuesday. Apologize for that. Just a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. But I appreciate everyone joining the live stream, everyone in here. Shout out to you guys already in the chat. D Davis, what's up, man? You're comes in and says, "You're growing, my dude. Going to Carolina Content Creator University." Um, that would be kind of cool if they had something like that. That would be kind of cool if they had something like that. Now I'm kind of just putting myself through school doing this, man. Just that's kind of like just trying to get better and better each and every week for you guys. Trying to bring something different or new, that's part of YouTubing and content creation, you know what I mean? What's up, SE boy? Appreciate you coming through. Y'all know what to do. People like and subscribe. Thank you, sir. That's the way, that link right there that's popped up on the screen. That's the membership link. If you're feeling generous, feel free to donate to the channel. You don't have to. D Davis, it should become a thing. I wouldn't be surprised. I think that you can do a lot of that stuff through school now, though. This kind of stuff you can learn a lot from, I would say, necessarily how to become a famous YouTuber or how to be a YouTuber, but you can learn some traits to really start your show in classes, in certain type of classes, marketing classes, digital media classes, stuff like that. There's all kinds of classes out there that you can learn from this, but I just tell people, if you want to become a YouTuber and you have an idea of what you want to do, what you want to talk about, and you got the equipment, hey, just start it. Don't wait. Don't wait. There's no reason to wait. Rock Jones, what's good, man? Appreciate you joining, buddy. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody shout out. We do have a live goal right now. Every $5 equals a shout out, but also, like I said in the last live stream, every live goal we meet will be going towards some major giveaways this year. So jersey giveaways, tickets giveaways, and probably merch giveaways as well. So once we get the merch out, so lots of good stuff on the horizon. So again, appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Appreciate everyone being in here spending your time, a little bit of your time with me on a Saturday afternoon. So without further ado, let's dive right into this bad boy, man. Let's get into some of the OTAs. We're going to dive more. We're really going to talk about more of what we've seen this week. All right. What's up, Poppin'? What's up, Pickle? Appreciate you joining. Appreciate you guys coming through. Appreciate it. Appreciate it on this Saturday afternoon. So OTAs first week is done. I just want to really kind of do a quick recap of what we've seen, what we've heard. If you're not on X, then I don't know what you're doing with your life, because that's where you can live and ride and die with all the updates that you need right now when it comes to the Carolina Panthers OTAs. But we wrapped up the first week. What's happening in Charlotte feels more grounded, more professional. Believe it or not, more competent. You got Dave Canales. I feel like he's been bringing these vibes and the equal parts teacher and truth teller kind of ordeal. Like, that's the way I look at him. We're talking about a roster that's still kind of licking its wounds from a 2-15 season, then to going 5-12 last year. So OTAs have offered some clarity to everything we've been going through. So I'm going to dive into really the biggest takeaways, or the biggest things I've noticed and what I've seen in the media and all that, and what we've seen on X, really. What I've seen to me, I've taken the most away from everything. And the first thing is the wide receiver room. I feel like this wide receiver room has just been completely flipped. Completely flipped, right? Because let's be honest, last year's wide receiver group couldn't create separation. Um, and they couldn't create separation in a phone booth, right? I wouldn't say last year. I'd probably say, I mean, last year wasn't as bad, but the year before that was pretty rough. But last year was a little bit better, but it still wasn't enough. I felt like it needed to be better. Like there's just some inconsistencies last year, I would say. Like it was better, but there were still some inconsistencies. And mainly the biggest thing I took away from last year was the drop balls. And I think also some chemistry issues last year with Bryce Young. So, but you got Xavier Legette, who looks different now, and he's healthy after that foot surgery. He looks leaner, but but when you look leaner, you look bigger. So, um, he looks faster. I think more importantly, that like this group as what we're seeing from clips and stuff like that, more confident, right? And of course, Dave Canales has come out and said Legette's playing with a year under the system, so he has that better understanding, which I think that means that fewer mental mistakes. I think tight breakouts on routes. I think better chemistry with Young now. Like it sounds like he's dominated early OTA sessions with contested catches, sideline toe taps. We've seen some clean crossing routes. We've also seen, but then you also got to talk about Tetero and McMillan. You're talking about a guy who's 6'4", machine out of Arizona, guy we got at 8th overall pick, nicknamed T-Mac. Hasn't played it down yet, but what we're already seeing and hearing, I mean, he's already being described by Brad Ezek, our offensive coordinator, a quarterback-friendly player. That is a glowing endorsement in my eyes of his route perception, right? And his catch radius, right? His route perception, he's precise, right? He's not a project. He's ready. In college, he hauled in 213 receptions, over 3,400 yards, 26 touchdowns across 3 years. Was known for his catch and traffic ability, deceptive speed. These guys, these guys aren't just talented. They're cooperative, right? That's the word. That's the word I was looking for. But I feel like with Legette and McMillan, man, like I've seen these guys been celebrating each other's reps, right? Not competing for the limelight. Like that synergy could open things up for guys like everyone else around them, Jimmy Horn Jr. But of course, another guy that's seems to be making a lot of headlines as well as Hunter Renfrow, right? I mean, we're talking about a guy who hasn't played since January of 2024 due to that ulcerative colitis, I think is how you pronounce it. But obviously he's working back steadily. Could be a savvy third down option. The team that sorely lacked still that part of it last year. Again, we're going to talk about this guy later, but I still think people, and I'm going to dive deeper into this, don't sleep on Jalen Coker still, guys. Like last year's, you're talking about a guy who went undrafted, broke out, coming out of Holy Cross. Though currently limited with another soft-ish tissue injury. But he was the most efficient receiver on the roster in 2024. I mean, he converted 72% of his catches into first downs. As long as his hamstrings can hold up, he's a true wide receiver 3 candidate. I think the big picture here is that when we talk about this receiver room, it might not be elite yet, but I finally feel like it has the height, it's got the hands, it's got the separation. We've got the hope that we've been looking for out of this wide receiver room for quite some time now, right? So let's get to some of the comments here. Rock just says, "Who wants to fight this Horry County traffic?" Dude, it's this is the time of the year it just gets wild. It just absolutely gets wild. What's up, Zach? Appreciate you joining. Second best wide receiver in the division. It's looking like it. It's looking like it. It's looking like it for sure. I don't know. I want to see how T Mac turns out and if like Xavier Leggett improves. But I mean, the way that the perception we're getting right now, absolutely, absolutely. Tampa Bay still got it though. When you got Evans, now you got Ibuka. McMillan definitely stepped up last year when Godwin went down, and then of course Chris Godwin coming back. Like, yeah, I definitely can see number 2 for sure. What's up, True? Make True Money. I appreciate you joining, man. Appreciate you joining, coming through. All right, another thing. The edge youth is it's rising, man. Let's just get this out the way real quick because here's the thing. The Panthers, if y'all don't remember last year, I'll refresh your memory. This defense was ranked dead last in sacks last year. We only had 27 sacks on the roster. So we weren't getting out of the quarterback last year. They didn't stop the run. Dead last in stopping the run. That is a big reason. That is a severe lack of edge pressure, right? And you let go of Jadeveon Clowney, who led the team with 9.5 sacks, instead of replacing him with another seasoned vet. And we're betting now on the upside, like this current edge rushing rotation. You got DJ Wanum, 26-year-old former Viking. He's penciled in as a starter, but right now he's dealing with a lingering back flare-up. And I hate to say this, guys, but this was one of the reasons why I wanted to keep Jadeveon Clowney, because of the whole Wanum incident. I wasn't sure if I wasn't okay with it. Like I'm okay with getting these guys all the reps so they can develop. But I just felt like also having Clowney would also have that veteran presence, also that mentorship that he could give to these guys, right? Who's been in the league for a long time, right? But then you do get Pat Jones from Minnesota. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's coming off his career high. He's got 7 sacks this season, looking for that bigger role now. Then you got Nick Scorton, second rounder out of Texas A&M, long, explosive, raw. I mean, but already generating buzz during, the positional drills we've seen. Then you got Princely, Umami Yellen, another rookie with twitch power. I mean, I think Umami Yellen adds depth, but there is some refinement that he needs. So the thing is now I look at this and I'm like, and what I'm seeing is like, we're betting on the youth, we're betting on the speed, we're betting on the development of over experience. To me, it's a high risk move. Like, I think if these rookies don't deliver, it's going to be a long season, and it could end up being a hot fall for our secondary. On top of that, and I mean, Ajiro Evero, I know didn't mince words this week, because if you heard him, he goes, "There's going to be competition in every room." So yeah, there's going to be no locks. No one's job is safe. But I will say this: with the D line getting Derrick Brown back, more on that shortly here. But the edge production will need to match. That's the biggest thing that I'm taking away from this. Ranked dead last in every category for sure. Yeah, it's true. Make True Money. It's true. It's sad. Last year, it's sad how bad it was last year. The fuck? Damn fly, where'd you come from? Interesting. Oh, I'm gonna get this sucker. Mr. Miyagi, that bitch. All All right, let's move on. Let's get right into the next of it. Sorry about that. Derrick Brown saves the defense. This is another big thing that I took away. I mean, his return to this defense. I think he's one of our best hopes. Because again, last year was just absolutely rough, man. Um, I mean, again, without Derrick Brown, we were historically bad. There's no exaggeration. Like you're talking about a guy. I mean, the guy tears his meniscus in the season opener, missed the rest of the year, and then in his absence, you're dead last in allowing rushing yards per game, worse than the NFL by a mile. So Brown is back, right? I think right now he's in a limited role so far, but his presence is impossible to overstate, right? Like he's that anchor, right? He's that tone setter. I again, without him commanding double teams, these linebackers were exposed. The safeties were forced to act like linebackers, and then it became a formula for disaster. We saw it last year, right? So I know he's not fully active yet, which is fine. The goal is obviously to be cleared by week 1. If he's healthy, Carolina's run defense immediately improves. I'll automatically say that. If not, week 1 could be interesting. Week 1 could be interesting. It could end up being a trench nightmare. I don't know. I do feel more comfortable with this rotation with Wharton and, of course, Bobby Brown, bringing in Cam Jackson as well. You bring back Ashawn Robinson. So I do feel more comfortable if he wasn't ready week 1 or even week 2. But again, the thing is that Brown may be the most irreplaceable player. I'll say this. I think he might be the most irreplaceable player on this roster. Outside of outside of nobody. Maybe JC. Maybe what could you say? Maybe but we haven't seen Tre'von Moehrig play yet. But maybe outside of Tre'von, because we know how good Tre'von's going to be. Tre'von's going to could end up being an all pro in my opinion. I like Tre'von Moehrig a lot. I love his film. I love his tape. I love everything that this guy did. And when we brought him in, I was ecstatic. But I don't know if there's anybody you can replace Derrick Brown with. Over under Bryce Young passing yards to Clay and everyone in the chat. What are your thoughts? Over 3,500, yes. I think it'll be over. I think I'll break down his stats later on as we get closer to the season. I'm thinking around 3,600. I'm just going to throw a random number. I'm going to say 3,678 yards. That's what I'm going to go with. Something like that. That's where I can see it. 3,600, 3,728. There's another random number. All right. But I'm going to go over. DB's most tackles in the NFL. Yeah, he's got to be good, right? He's got to be good. Right? What's up, broski? Appreciate you joining. Nick Tri-State, what's good, man? What's good? I mean, here I'll say to your question, broski. Bryce Young, I've already given you guys my thoughts on him. Bryce Young this year has to have over 25 plus touchdowns. He's got to throw 10 or less interceptions. He's got to be at least a top 15 quarterback. And there was one more statistic I need him to be. There was one more statistic I need that I had for him. At least for my expectations of Bryce. It's pretty high up there for my expectations for Bryce Young because I need him to be, like I said, top 15, 25 plus touchdowns, 10 or less interceptions. Yeah, I had it I have it pretty like my expectations are pretty high for him this year. Um, I need him to lead a top 15 offense. I think 8 to 9 games minimum. Command that locker room, whether he's loud or quiet. But I think statistically, if we're talking about statistics, I think he'll throw for over 3,500. I think a good year I think if we're talking about a really good solid year, he reaches 3,800 for Bryce. That's my expectations though, Broski. That is my expectations. Good question. Good question. But back to Derrick Brown. I mean, his recovery is at this point, though, ladies and gentlemen. Back to this segment here. His recovery is priority number one for Evero's unit. That plain and simple. All right, tight end depth is going to be is tested. I think it's being tested right now. We're going to be testing this tight end depth because I don't think Tommy Tremble was the presumed tight end one. I mean, anybody in this chat right now, I mean, if you're picking out of this tight end group, who was your presumed tight end one? I think we would all in this chat right now probably would say Tre'von Sanders, correct? I mean, am I wrong? Am I wrong? Because, you got Tommy Tremble. Some people maybe presumed him as the tight end one. But, he's now out after undergoing back surgery. It's a procedure that teams call proactive. So that means that though the back injuries for tight ends tend to linger more than teams like to admit, but you're talking about a guy that just signed a 2-year, $10.5 million deal this offseason. He's expected to start training camp on the PUP list. We'll see. But the thing is I think this is a great opportunity for these two unproven guys right here. Like, I mean, Tre'von Sanders, second year tight end, obviously fluid athleticism, better than expected hands for sure. Flashing it on 11 and 11s this week, could be a surprise contributor in this canal system. But then you got Mitchell Evans, who I think a lot of you guys do not want to sleep on this guy. We're talking about a rookie who's got size. He's got the catch radius. He's still learning the system, but he's already made noise with his blocking effort. So Carolina, I'm hoping, will run some 12 personnel, 2 tight end sets, which we did do that a couple times last year. I saw a statistic where we ran about 29% of those snaps last year. But I feel like with Tremble out, they may have to adjust because these guys are younger. They're not as experienced. They'll need to show that they can handle blitz pickups. And then, of course, I need to see them contribute in the red zone, right? I mean, we were 31st in the red zone last year scoring in 2024. So this could go sideways quickly if neither Sanders nor Evans can block, but there's at least an intriguing position this is a position that has felt stale for quite some time, in my opinion. It's felt quite stale for quite some time. Since the Greg Olsen left. So, appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Again, appreciate everyone in here. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Make sure you do me a favor. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. Feel free to get in the comments as we go through each topic. Love to hear your guys' thoughts. All right. I'm always reading the chat. So shout out to you guys. Of course, we got a live goal going on right now. We'd love to reach that today. Also, if you guys are feeling generous, feel free to donate to the channel. That's pinned up at the top of the comments. But other than that, if not, become a member today. That's in there as well. I can link that. That link is literally right here. So if you want to become a member of the Rockstar Report, it's simple and easy, and it's less than a cup of coffee from Starbucks. So per month, by the way. So appreciate that. All right, let's move on. The unsettled kicker situation is still going on. It's this kicker situation is still a situation, basically. You got no Eddie Pinheiro, you got no clear replacement. So really now it's like there's no margin for error. So I kind of feel like our special teams is in a flux again, right? You've got Matthew Wright, who's a 28-year-old journeyman he's been around 9 different places in the last 5 years. He's accurate from inside 40, knows the new kickoff rule. He's the safe choice there. But then you've got, on the other hand, you got Ryan Fitzgerald, who's an undrafted rookie from Florida State with a cannon of a leg. He converted 80% of his field goals through college, 99% of his PATs, but he's never faced NFL pressure. So it's going to be interesting because even our special teams coordinator came out, Tracy Smith, said didn't bother the coach, there's no leader right now, but he goes, that's both an honest, but it's also kind of concerning. Because, like, when you think about it this way, though, guys, like NFL games often are decided by like 1 or 2 critical kicks. If you think about it, like this position can't be an afterthought. Like the leash will be short, the margin for error will be shorter. So I expect the Panthers to monitor other teams' camp cuts for help if neither guy separates from each other, right? So I don't think this team is claiming to be contenders right now, but there is a lot to positively to go around, right? But what we're doing is building something that looks structurally sound for the first time in years. You know what I mean? So let's not get delusional. I think a lot of people sometimes get a little delusional, when it comes to this, when OTAs come. So wide receiver room has real talent. Upside, the edge group is young, unproven, but hungry. Derrick Brown is back, could save the defense. Tight end room is shaky, but there are options. Kicker battle, still a wild card. There's just a sense of a process here, though, right now, right? And I love it. Like, I don't feel like there's no competency here going on in Carolina. So, but let's talk about Jimmy Horn Jr., who's definitely a guy who has been stealing the spotlight at OTAs. It's becoming impossible to look away from this guy because our wide receiver competition right now is an absolute battle royal. I love it. Every snap, every route, everything counts, right, with this roster. You got roster spots that are going to be at a premium. And obviously now you getting that roster spot is cranked up to the maximum. The only most consistent and explosive, I think, are going to survive. That's how it works in this game. You're in a room full of contenders who, an unexpected name is steadily still showing it, though. And it's Jimmy Horn Jr. Let's be clear. No one handed this kid anything. He wasn't a top pick. He wasn't wrapped in buzz or burdened by hype. When the Panthers grabbed him in the 6th round, the move barely made a ripple in national headlines. But in Carolina Panthers people's eyes, it was like almost like we hit the jackpot. A lot of Panthers fans, after we drafted him, I was like, okay. Like, I wasn't mad about it. I was like, but damn, we got him in the 6th round. I thought he was a guy that would go sooner. I had him going like 4th or 5th round, but getting him in the 6th, I mean, great value, right? But he's performing like he's got something to prove, and I love it, and he does. I think that even though Dan Morgan took I wouldn't say it was a calculated gamble to go get him. But I do think that general manager Dan Morgan didn't rush to fix this offense, right? Or fix things in this offense this offseason. Like, in fact, he ignored it at first, right? His focus was defense, and rightfully so, because given last year's implosion under Ajiro Evero. But once that mess was addressed, now he's turned to this his attention to giving Bryce the weapons he needs to finally grow into that franchise status that we've been looking for, right? And the result is you drafted 2 picks, and then you added a veteran to the wide receiver room, and it was a calculated, but it was a surgical approach to fix an offense that lacked juice, right? I think all eyes were trained on first rounder T-Mac, of course. He's the one who is the dazzling athleticism, day one starter expectations, whereas Horn has quietly made it clear that he's not here just to make the roster. He's here to be a disruptor on this offense. He wants to make plays, right? He wants to be on this depth chart, right? And I'm loving what I'm seeing from Jimmy Horn right now. And here's the thing. I think for all of you Jimmy Horn fans, he's consistent. That's the biggest thing I've noticed from Jimmy Horn. His footwork and his consistency have been the biggest thing I've noticed for him from these camps. And that buzz has been kept alive through the opening sessions of OTAs. We've seen it again, razor sharp footwork. We've seen the absurd quickness. He's got a knack for making defenders look silly in space. I expected this guy to be more of a project, right? But I feel like now we've gotten ourselves a playmaker. Like, he's dynamic. That's the thing. Like, this is the kind of player who turns routine slants into sprints and then broken plays into highlights. So whether he's working as a receiver, flipping the field on special teams, I mean, he can demonstrate both. But one critical thing is I think you got to give him the ball, and let's just see what happens, because the elusiveness in open space, I mean, it's absolutely almost at an elite level. So is he raw? Absolutely. All right. There's some concentration lapses at times when you watch his tape, but the technique against press coverage definitely still needs some refinement there. But there's parts of the deal with 6th-round prospects, right? You don't draft them because they're polished, or you know, it's not like you're drafting a 6th-round pick and he's expected to be a day one starter. That's just not how it works, right? But you draft him because of the upside, of the value that you're getting that player at, maybe, so to speak. But Horn's ceiling, I think, is a lot higher by the day as we go throughout this so far. I'm looking forward to what training camp brings with him. That's the biggest thing I've seen with Jimmy Horn. I think the road ahead, there's no free passes. No, not everybody just gets their role like that. This is not going to be an easy path for him because this wide receiver room is so crowded. And there's so many hopefuls in this room. I mean, I think T-Mac is on automatic. I think Thielen automatic. Leggett automatic. I think those 3 guys are for sure locked in. I think Jalen Coker should be locked in as well. I think we're going to dive into him more here shortly, but you definitely, those 4 at least are locked in. But Hunter Renfrow also looks good out there. And he's making, a lot of head turns as well. But I can tell you right now, David Moore is going to be a guy who's going to be fighting tooth to nail to even keep some relevancy on this roster. Right. But this leaves Jimmy Horn in a familiar position, overlooked, undervalued, but then he's undeniably, he rises. Here's the kicker. It's the way he responds to things. And how he does that is by producing. So if he keeps doing what he's doing, the coaching staff will have no choice but to find a place for him, special teams, slot packages. I probably guarantee you that we'll see some gadget plays with him as well. It doesn't matter. You stash live wires on the practice squad. you know, you don't just stash live wires on the practice squad. That's why we saw Jalen Coker come off that last year and into the starting lineup. You unleash those types of players. That's what Jimmy Horn's going to be. I feel like Jimmy Horn this year is going to be like what Jalen Coker was last year. But, of course, not an undrafted free agent. So, yeah, I love what I'm seeing from Jimmy Horn. Jimmy Horn's one of my favorite players on this roster. Again, don't get me wrong, Jimmy Horn Jr. is not a complete receiver yet, guys. But the Panthers didn't need him to be perfect this spring, right? They needed him to compete. What they got instead, I felt like, is a young player who's making a very loud case that he belongs, not just in the building, but in the game plan. I'm not going to say that he's a lock yet to a 53-man roster. I think he'll make it, but I'm not going to say he's a lock because nothing is guaranteed, especially even when you're a day 3 pick. If you're looking for a dark horse who might break through and become a legitimate contributor, I'll say bet on this guy who's going to make himself impossible to ignore. We know how the summer grind works with OTAs and these offseason workouts. Most of it, you'll see the difference between the hype, what separates from hype, then to reality from these guys. So I think if the early signs are any indication, I think this guy's just getting started. I think the Panthers might have pulled off one of the biggest steals in this draft without anyone really noticing we'll see as time goes on. What's up, Marcos Cash? Appreciate you joining. Phantom. Appreciate you, man, coming through. Make sure you pound that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We've already reached 6,000 subscribers. I greatly appreciate that. I really do. But do me a favor, make sure you pound that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to see how many likes we are at. We've got over 50 people watching as of right now. We got over 34 people on the YouTube. We got over 15 people on the X. We got one person on the Twitch channel. I'm hoping that we can get some more people to follow the Twitch channel. We're at 26 likes. We got over 35 people watching. So make sure y'all guys, all right. Hold on 1 second. All right. Perfect. All right, here we go. Let's move on to the next one. We're moving up though with the likes. I love it. We're at 27. We got over 35 people in here. Make sure we get those likes up. I appreciate it, man. Goes a long way. We got 36 people in here, so we should be at 36 likes. Let's talk about a guy that's not getting really talked about, but his name's been thrown around a bit as of late. We might have snagged a defensive sleeper, hopefully a guy that can leapfrog his way into this depth chart, right? I want you guys to hear me out on this, and I want you guys to sound off the comments and let me know what you think. But what I want you to do too is keep your eyes peeled on MJ Devonshire. He's not a headline maker yet, but that may not be the case for long because here's the thing. When we talk about Dan Morgan, right? One thing he promised us for this offseason, correct, was that defensive overhaul that we needed, right? We know that this defense collapsed like a wet paper bag, and true to form, he didn't just swing for the obvious. He scoured rosters, practice squads, waiver wires, like most GMs do. The result is a defense that on paper right now looks faster, tougher, far deeper than what it was last year. But I think one of the most intriguing moves came from after the camera stopped kind of rolling, MJ Devonshire. No, he wasn't drafted by the Panthers. No, he didn't shine in Las Vegas. I get it. But yes, this guy has spent his entire rookie season on the Raiders practice squad. But if you think that means he's irrelevant, you haven't been paying attention to how fast things can change in the NFL, especially when a raw talent like this and a chip on your shoulder intersect. This could be a waiver wire that could end up really giving us a nice bite in that secondary, right? Devonshire wasn't part of the flashiest draft class. He wasn't one of Morgan's early defensive crown jewels, but that may be what makes him dangerous. He's coming in with everything to prove. There's no spotlight to distract him. You claimed the former Pittsburgh cornerback off of waivers, right? Shortly after the draft, while it looked like a back of the roster move at first glance, the early signs suggest otherwise, though, because he has the physical profile that, like, for some reason, Ejiro Evero looks for. These big, long-armed corners. 5'11". You're talking about a guy who's got 33-inch arms. Remarkably long for his size. So to put that in perspective, his wingspan rivals or exceeds that of some of Carolina's biggest pass catchers, even including T-Mac and Xavier Legette. So that kind of link doesn't just show up in measurements. It shows up in deflected passes, in the disruptive timing, and then the contested catches. That all that turns into incompletions. And that's exactly what we're hoping to unleash, I think, with this guy. I didn't know what to expect when this guy came here, okay? I was just looking into it. What's up, man? Appreciate you joining. Pause up, man. I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you coming through. But I feel like this guy might be more than a camp body. I think he's going to be a legitimate threat to climb that ladder here. I mean, I've even seen Mike Kay, the guy of the Charlotte Observer. Shout out to him. He's even come out and talked about this guy. He's a beat writer. I think he's a trusted observer of our team. He says Devonshire is an intriguing one. And a lot of people are saying he singled out the young. I mean, also Mike Kay also singled out this guy as someone who could make a real push during OTAs and training camp. So if he can prove he can hang with the physical wideouts that Carolina has assembled. Now I know it's still early. We're kind of in that phase 3 of organized team activities, but this is far from real game action as well. But Devonshire isn't playing like someone content with a practice squad encore. He's showing up. He's competing. Most importantly, he's standing out. And that's kind of what Mike Kay had to say about him. He's standing out in that corner room. I mean, our corner room isn't a locked vault. It's not. I don't think it's complete. With JC Horn back there, newly paid, still has this alpha mentality. And he's the alpha when he's healthy as well. But Mike Jackson, they brought him back on a team-friendly deal. No system. I think he's serviceable at best. Charles Smith-Wade had some flashes. He's also having some flashes as well in OTAs. We could be sleeping on Charles Smith-Wade. But he's also a guy that normally is that inside tracker for the nickel duties. But after that, really, it's wide open. So this is a guy that could end up coming up, stepping forward, maybe stepping up. If someone goes down, this guy gets a chance. But, we need to build more depth in that corner room anyways, right? I'll say this, and I'll be blunt about MJ Devonshire, is that he is in a make or break situation. Like, I think this guy thrives, and if he does thrive, he's on the 53. If he's falter, he's gone. There's no middle ground here. But I am liking what I'm seeing. Like, in the NFL, there is a version of a final exam One where every rep counts, and then every missed tackle is a red flag, and then every splash play earns you more looks, right? He's definitely going to be tested relentlessly. He's going toe-to-toe with guys like T-Mac and Leggett, right? It's no small assignment. These aren't college wideouts running vanilla routes. These are guys who are big, physical, NFL caliber receivers with something to prove themselves as well. And Devonshire's ability to neutralize them in press coverage or erase separation with his arm length, that'll dictate his fate, right? And I think his size and his arm length, he's a guy. That's the reason why I see a lot of upside in him because of that. So if he can keep up, again, this is a guy that I don't think Carolinas will hesitate to bring in a seasoned vet off the street. But if he can't keep up, they'll bring in a seasoned vet. But this is a guy, if he can't keep up, this is something maybe we can build off on because he's still young, right? This is the brutal honesty of NFL roster building. Sentiment doesn't exist. Second chances are earned. They're not given. So will this guy make a leap? There's reasons to believe he might, right? He's already shown signs of being coachable, physical, sharp in early drills, what we've seen so far. His physical traits do give him the tools, right? Others simply just that don't have the same tools he does. Carolina's defensive staff, they've proven they can develop overlooked talent into legitimate contributors. So again, let's not kid ourselves. This won't be easy. I'm looking forward to seeing if this guy continued to treat every OTA, every joint practice, every preseason snap like a job interview. And that's the kind that where we can, again, that's taking it from hype to reality. That's where it comes from. So I'm hoping this guy could end up being a 2025 breakout story from a waiver wire standpoint. We don't need just warm bodies in the secondary. We need guys who can make differences, right? So, but the physical traits, the opportunities there for this guy, now it's on him to just close that gap between the potential and production. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from him so far. Spreading some love. Glad to see you still grinding. Been subscribed well over a year now or more. Oh yeah, make sure money. About 3 years now. I lied. Yeah. I don't doubt. Oh, or 4. I forgot. Or 4. Damn, make sure money. You making me feel old, man. Making me feel old. Damn. Have I been doing this for 4 years? I can't even remember. I think my first video was during the pandemic or right before the pandemic. Was it 2020? I have to go back and look at it. Now, do I want to go back and watch how I was then? Absolutely not. What Clay was back then to now, content was totally different. Shout out True Money for hitting up with the $4.99 donation. I appreciate you being here for the last 3 or 4 years, whatever it is now, but we have to go back and look at it. Shout out to you, Make True Money. I appreciate you, man. Saturday streams are pretty good, man. We got over 50 something people in here. Appreciate you. What's up, T Cole? Appreciate you, man. Coming through. I remember when you first started up. It's cool to see your grind over time, man. Yeah, I try to switch it up. I try to give y'all the best that I can, with what I've got, and try to make the best of it, man, and just continue to bring y'all content. It's a different perspective because everybody's channel is different. Prime, Panthers Prime podcast, he's, PvP, he does his differently. You got Marcos Cash is, or not Marcos Cash. Sorry. I saw him down there. What's up, Doug? That's my guy. Doug's my guy. he does his differently too. All these, PNP does their thing. Everybody is different. Everybody's different in their own way, and whatever it is, as long as as long as I'm entertaining you and you're getting something out of this, that's all that matters to me. I could care less about anything else. As long as I'm giving you something that you look forward to watching, that's all I care about. So I try to do the best I can, but I appreciate you coming through, man, and the support as well. We all had to start somewhere, bro. Oh, man, dude. I think I might puke in my mouth if I went and watched my old clips. I was so Saturday Live is fire. I appreciate that. The fact that everyone does it different is what Panthers YouTuber podcast, best fan podcasters in all the NFL. For sure, Panther Pickle. That's a fact. That is an absolute fact. Everybody's different. Everybody gives you content differently. It's cool. It's cool. Definitely been busting out some shorts, but definitely going to be busting out some more NFL takes. I got to get back into the NFL takes when I was doing a bunch of NFL stuff, but the off season's a lot harder to do that, but I'm going to come up with some good stuff because TikTok's got a bunch of different filters and fun stuff like that. So maybe I'll throw into some of that mix into this channel as well. So I got to bring back some of the NFL filters that I was doing. So definitely going to be doing some top 2025 rankings. I'll have that come out as well. So positions and stuff like that. So definitely going to do some fun stuff. Probably do some chat GPT stuff as well. Use it to predict stuff, and we'll see what it says. So I'm kind of interested to see what chat GPT would say if we predicted the Carolina Panthers season, see what chat GPT said for this upcoming season. I'm interested to see what it would say. Tyree Ross, what's up, man? Appreciate you coming through, brother. What's going on? Happy Saturday, man. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. Have you had a chance to check out that website show? Yes, I have. I have, Marcos. I have gotten to check it out. I need to dive into it more, so I have a better understanding on how to use it. Because we might use that this season. Because we're definitely going to be doing some NFL predictions on this channel, week in and week out. I always give my weekly picks, so we're definitely going to dive into that. And if anybody needs any fantasy, we might do some fantasy stuff this year too. Oh, the mock drafts. Yeah. Well, no, once next year's draft class comes around, we'll get into it. You know that, Marcos. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Let's get right into the next topic. And of course, Coker still being ignored. I feel like we have been ignoring Coker, man. I feel like I feel like Coker is still not getting the credit he deserves of what I've seen and heard lately. We're talking about a guy who broke out last year as an undrafted free agent, was one of the most efficient wide receivers on this roster, which I mentioned earlier. But if we're thinking about it this way, so think about it this way with me, chat. Since 2013, Steve Smith's been gone. He packed his bags, gone. And we've had some decent wide receivers come through, right? We obviously had DJ Moore briefly. Then he, obviously he got shipped off to Chicago, in the Bryce Young trade. But Bryce Young, like any other quarterback in this league, I don't care what anybody says, every quarterback in this league needs a wide receiver. At least at least one reliable receiver, right? But you do need a receiving core, though, especially if you're going to support and develop a franchise quarterback. So when Bryce Young got here, we got an aging slot receiver, and then we had these. So far, we've had a string of overhyped underperformers. And at the time, we had a front office that was tossing darts at the board with trades and draft picks, and the results was obviously very predictable, and it was ugly and it was frustrating. But Adam Thielen, to his credit, obviously he held that line, savvy veteran presence, of course. Then you brought in Jonathan Mingo, flamed out, was quickly shipped to Dallas, thank God. Terrace Marshall, ghost. Deontay Johnson, an absolute head case, right? Who I thought Deontay Johnson was gonna be an absolute great weapon for Bryce, and it just didn't pan out. But he's just an absolute head case. Then Xavier Legette. I don't think when they drafted Legette, especially at 32nd overall, I didn't expect him to be the savior. But I think that since they drafted him in the first round, and with his big frame, big expectations, and then it kind of just a little bit of a letdown last year, right? But I just feel like, even though I'm big on XL, and I still believe that he's going to break out this year, I don't want to ignore the fact of Jalen Coker. And I'll be honest, Jaylen Coker outshined Xavier Legette last year. I think because most of our fans, and I will even say this, most of our coaches, I think, are obsessed over XL. Should become. Whereas Jalen Coker is a guy who went to work, undrafted, overlooked, undervalued, and then since day one, he's been here, right? He came out of Holy Cross, a name that barely registers in NFL scouting circles. Did the only thing that matters in the league, and he produced. He didn't wait for the perfect opportunity. He snatched every rep. You know what I mean? Like, this is a guy you could find oftentimes on the field. And often thanks to someone else's injury or underperformance, right? But even when his number was called, he didn't just show up, he delivered, right? If you look at his numbers, he played 5 fewer games than Excel did. 5. He played 5 fewer games than Excel did. Okay? On top of that, he only had 4 starts compared to Legette's 13 last year. And yet he nearly matched him in total receiving yards, falling short of him only by 20 yards. And more importantly, Coker beat him in yards per reception, yards per game, and yards per target and catch rate. So that's not just a statistical noise. This is a clear signal. One wide receiver was making the most of his limited chances, and the other one was squandering every built-in advantage of his draft pedigree. I think a lot of people need to learn a hard truth. And here's the hard truth. I don't care what these guys' draft statuses are anymore if it doesn't equal the production of their draft status. I'll say that again. Your draft status, if it doesn't equal the production, I don't care what your draft status means anymore. That's a hard truth that a lot of people need to learn. Because even with T-Mac now, who's a guy who's polished route running, physically gifted wideout, I expect him to be the anchor of our wide receiver room, sure, moving forward, for sure. You got Thielen still. I think he's going to hold down the slot, very reliable as ever. They might rotate him out more just because of his age. Maybe if Hunter Renfrow makes it, he kind of steps in there. But there does leave one major question heading into 2025: who lines up on the other side? I still think it's XL's job to lose. I think XL will. I still think that XL will break out, but I don't want to sleep on Coker coming in as wide receiver 3. I can see Coker still being wide receiver 3. Even if XL breaks out, Coker could be also a guy who breaks out. Like as XL does have all the tools, but there was times though when I watched film last year, XL looked lost. And here was the thing, the Panthers kept waiting for the light to turn on with this guy, and it never did. Now, whether that's an injury issue or whether it's him getting used to the system issue, which it could be, right? It's your first year, rookie. I'm not going to bash him too hard about it, but Coker, on the other hand, there was times that he looked more belonged than he didn't. And that's not something you just fake in the NFL. I'm sorry. That shit doesn't just happen. So, yes, I would say this. Moving on from a first-round pick this early, like if we were to do that with XL, that is awkward, and I would even say even painful, because then the Panthers have to ask themselves, do they want to win or do they want to save face? So if the goal is to put the best players on the field, I believe then Jalen Coker deserves a real shot at wide receiver 2, because the way he plays, he's very precise, he's very agile, he's very opportunistic. He offers a different flavor than Carolina's big body vertical threats. It's a contrast that could stretch the field in ways that I still think Leggett simply can, but has yet to really shown he's capable of doing yet. But again, at the same time, I've also said that the reason why I think XL will break out this year, and I still think he will, is the fact that when you have T-Mac on the other side, it takes a lot of pressure off if XL to get up and create separation, make a play, because it changes the whole offense up now with T-Mac on the other side, right? So I want to be very clear about this. This is not what I'm saying is this is not an indictment on, of course, on XL long-term potential. I think the talent is there. The physical tools are there, but the potential and production are two different currencies in this league, right? Because as of right now, the only one of those players is cashing checks on Sundays. You know what I mean? So for me, I think the Panthers have the flexibility to use both receivers, especially in some specific packages. But if Coker continues to outplay Leggett in camp and preseason, the team needs to report the performance, not the pedigree. Like, I think here's the thing we've seen about the NFL. It is unforgiven. Wasting time hoping someone becomes what you want them to be is a recipe for continued mediocrity. Meanwhile, Jalen Coker is already becoming what this team needs: a reliable playmaking wideout with a chip on his shoulder and something to prove. So I just want to say this. Even though I think XL is going to break out because I think T-Mac is going to help that, right? I do think we still got to give Jalen Coker his flowers and don't ignore him. Don't forget about him. I think that Coker is going to have a real role in this offense this season. Hell, if I could see Coker being the guy that goes in for Thielen, right? Rotates in for Thielen, but maybe he rotates in where XL goes, right? But let him start. But let Coker. Let's see him start opposite of T-Mac, because it's going. I think no matter who's there with T-Mac, whether it's XL or Coker, it's going to force defenses to adjust. But if it doesn't work with Coker, fine. At least Carolina can have made an informed decision based on evidence and not ego. I just think in the meantime, XL will get more time to refine his game this offseason away from the pressure cooker of the wide receiver 2 expectations. Either way, it's a Panthers win because either way, you get a true wide receiver too out of either one of these guys. I just think that we can't sleep on Coker. But I do think Excel will break out this year. I do. I still think he'll break out this year. Man, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Again, do me a favor. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. And let me get to some of your comments here. I know I missed some. Hopefully soft tissue issue thing is a non-issue. The depth won't allow him to make the club in the top. T. Cole coming in here with an absolute just bar drop. If let's see what we got here. If Adam Thielen retires after the season, Panthers still good on wide receivers. Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't disagree there. Fully healthy. He clearly wide receiver 4 or 5, depending on how Horn Jr. does. Excel better not sleep either. Absolutely. T. Cole. You can't sleep. You can't let your guard down. You can't underperform and expect to be wide receiver 2. You will get replaced real quickly. I think they just want to see if Coker's legit reason why they did so much work on the wide receiver core this past offseason. Yeah. I think he's legit. I mean, for a guy who came in last year undrafted and again, was played 5 fewer games than XL did, started only 4 games compared to XL's 13, almost tied him in receiving yards, was only 20 yards shorter. But Coker did also beat him in yards reception, yards per game, yards per target, and catch rate. So, got to put that in perspective too. T. Cole comes in with the facts. XL will get the chance to develop after just one great year. See, maybe why they wanted the 5th-year option attached to his rookie deal. Could be. I don't disagree with you, JP. I don't disagree with you at all. You can't fake that. Yep. What's going on, Earl? Appreciate you joining, man. Does Thielen make the team? Of course. Yeah, of course. The good thing with Leggett was he was getting open. He was getting open. He just has to catch the. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. You just have to catch the ball. Coker isn't getting any DC's attention as well. Keep in mind. Very true. Very true. I think he'll make most of his opportunities that he gets. How do we contribute to the channel? Just liking, subscribing. If you want to go further, there is, if you go down at the bottom of the chat, if you go at the live chat and you see that little dollar symbol down here, you hit that and you hit one of those super stickers or super chats. That's also another way. Okay. That's very simple and easy. Possible Mike Evans, Chris Godwin type wide receivers. Possibly. Yeah. Where Coker kind of becomes that maybe McMillan, or I guess if you want to compare it to Emeka Ibuka, but not really. Not really. I don't know. It's hard to compare. I would say XL and T-Mac is more like Chris Godwin type wide receivers for sure, though. But Coker's interesting, man. I just don't want him to be ignored. I think a lot of people love the flashiness and loves the big body wide receivers out of T-Mac and, of course, XL. Plus, XL's also got the speed. We can't forget that. 4.3, 9.40, that's still there. Can create separation, but it's just like Nervous said, you got to catch the fucking ball, and that's very true. I think Adam is going to retire, stick around like Smitty, TD, Luke to help mentor, I feel. Yeah, I think I can see Thielen doing that. I don't know if Thielen ever wants to go back to Minnesota, though. That's an interesting thing. I don't know if he ever will want to go back there and do something like that. Maybe, but I don't know. We'll see. All our wide receivers get open. David Moore had the worst wide receiver separation, averaged 2.3 yards last season. Everyone else 2.6 or better. Yeah, David Moore will be a practice squad guy, I think, or he'll get cut. I don't know what his contract is like because we only re-signed him for a 1-year deal. So it might be minimum enough to keep him on the practice squad. But if he goes practice squad, someone else picks him up. But then again, we've got some guys that could end up being practice squad wide receivers like Kobe Hudson or Jacoby, what's his name, out of Miami. Those guys, could develop on the practice squad, end up coming up the roster. Who knows? I've always said don't sleep on Kobe Hudson. I like Kobe Hudson's tape a lot. I hope that he can. I hope that we can keep him on the practice squad, and then I hope we can keep him on the practice squad, and then see if he develops. SC Panthers boy said just hit your Cash App. Oh shit! Sent me $9. Says for the content. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, SC. I appreciate that. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to SC Panthers boy 803 with that. I appreciate you. Shout out to him with the $9 donation. I think he sent $9 because of Bryce Young. Appreciate that, man. Really do. Goes a long way, man. I mean, all contributions go back towards the channel anyway, so keep it running and all that good stuff. So I appreciate that. I really do. Really appreciate that. Well, other than that, guys, I am, and of course, you will definitely get something in return, Panthers boy. Don't you worry. Once that merch comes out, you will be getting a one of my first shirts that I drop for free. So don't worry about that. I'm still working on it. BY Niner. That's what. See, I knew that's why he sent the $9. That's why I knew why he sent the $9. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm gonna hop off of here. I am going to get ready for some dinner. Go spend some time with my family. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. I will be still getting some content out to you guys. I still got some shorts that I need to create later on tonight. I will have those out to you tonight as well. Make sure you guys pound that like button, hit that subscribe button. As always, make sure you become a member of the Robstar Report. Love having you guys here. Love the chat. The chat was going off today. Saturday live streams might have to continue here at the Robstar Report because y'all have been electric, by the way. Y'all have been electric. King Jermaine JP coming in with that fire ass comment. I appreciate you, brother. 6'3", 4'3" speed. Yeah, don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it. Let's go then. Keep pounding. I appreciate you, Panthers boy. And as always, guys, I will see you on the other side. I will see y'all later. We'll be live again here soon, possibly tomorrow, but for sure Monday. Out of here, guys. Peace.